All right. Sorry for the delay. Me and Bud were chatting backstage there. Danny, how you doing? There's my new best friend. How are you? I want to do a live stream with you, by the way. You can run, but you can't hide. and we should chat anyway. Hello there. Yes, we're on Philippine time. That's right. We plan on starting at 8 o'clock, but I set this up 15 minutes early so that Mr. Bud Brown and I could chat a little bit prior to the show. And so we're going to bring Bud on, and as a special treat, we're going to chat a little bit. But as a special treat, Bud has agreed on live on my show to shave off his eyebrows. All right, so we're looking forward to that. All right, here we go. There's Bud.
Sorry, kind of got choked up for the last couple of seconds there and choked me up. I want you to know.
Sorry to do that to you at the last minute, Bud.
These are not implants. These are not implants. These are the real deal. Oh my! Well,
so let me say hi to a few people here,
yeah.
And then we'll just say hi, and then we'll keep on keeping on here. So I'm just going to kind of show the comments and say hi to everybody, and then we're going to get into it. And welcome. And so we've already got 52 people here, and here we go. Everybody's saying hi to each other, which is awesome. We appreciate you guys coming along. And so, Bud, what's new? What's exciting? What's happening in your world?
Oh, well, not much. I want to say hey to everybody, too. Thanks for coming by. I know you probably didn't know I was going to be here, so you didn't come for me, but thanks anyway.
Well, this wasn't announced.
It wasn't announced? How rude
I didn't
you
premiere
are.
it. I just go live because, I can. And the price is right. And StreamYard's still free, so what the hell?
There you are. I want to ask you about that. I'm thinking about doing a little pay a little extra, but I'm not sure what's the benefits. I think you can broadcast a YouTube and Facebook and something else simultaneously, whereas if you do the free version, you can only go to one media, social media.
I haven't looked into it, Bud. I think I glanced at it a time or two when I got close to my hours. It's unlimited hours, so that's one thing. If you stream a lot, it would be worth paying. But I don't stream that often. I go through cycles.
Now in the mornings, you probably go stream a little bit, right? I mean, in the bathrooms there.
Yeah. I have found that I go through cycles where sometimes I feel like making a video, and like it's been almost a week since I've made a video because I just haven't been in the mood.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I mean?
Me too.
And I am retired, so it's more of a hobby than anything else. But sometimes I just want to just talk to people. I just like saying hi to the kids and see what's going on, and maybe answer a few questions, and of course have a few people on, and like yourself. And other than that, that's where we're at.
Okay. Well, I mentioned Facebook, and I've got a love-hate relationship with Facebook. On one hand, I get messages like from you and others on there.
Yeah.
But some days I get so many messages, I can't answer them all. And of course, and how many times have I started a response with, "I'm sorry for the late reply," but
Yeah.
So, and then sometimes I'll get someone that says, "Hey, how come you're not replying?" Or I guess you don't want to reply, or something like that. Oh my! So
when you're famous like Bud Brown, you got to put up with that kind of stuff. When you're a world famous, internationally known, you know, you've had a TV movie made about you. You've you've had countless awards. You're a school teacher. You're married to the same woman for you know, your life is
now
is
that's an accomplishment there. Putting up with the same woman, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, they recognize her more than me. We'll walk in an airport or something. And matter of fact, last time, it's been a couple of years ago, we were going to we were in Manila, going through going to the boarding place, and a long line there. And this one man, this is Manila, huh? And he said, "Come through here." And I looked, the sign said "crew," you know, for crew only. And I had to point it. I said, "Oh, for the crew." He said, "No, I know you, Mr. and Mrs. Brown. I saw you on Pagkailanman." That's the name of the movie. She's going through. And so I look at Gloria. "Ooh, look at you. You're a hot shot now." She said, "Oh, shut up." She's always telling people, "That wasn't me. That was my sister."
Hey, we got one request, which I'm going to follow through up on here with
All
you,
right.
buddy. Can you sit up a little bit? Because your face is kind of halfway into the comments.
Oh, really?
Can you raise the chair? There you go.
Well,
nobody wants to miss you. Can you raise that thing up? Okay. Now we're cooking.
Oh, I see. The lower.
See where we're on? Because we've got the comment bar, and it doesn't go any lower. So now we can see you. Yeah, we want to get all of your guapo face in there.
Hey, you know, that's something that I want to talk about. I haven't had a chance to talk about that's different here in the Philippines. I was
take it away, bud.
Well, this won't take but an hour or two, but I'll try to keep it shorter. I was talking to a fellow. I go to this website called italki. It's a language learning website, and so I was talking to a guy in Mexico, a Mexican guy. They were talking in Spanish, and even though I lived in Mexico and I love the place and love to be there, but there's some things that I really didn't know. Well, I had questions, especially comparing it here with the Philippines. So, you know, here in the Philippines, men call each other guapo. Hey, guapo. And then I see the guard, hey, guapo. And they say, go, guapo. You're the guapo one, and blah, blah, blah. And so I know in the States, men, the custom is not for men to say, hello, handsome. You think, oh, hey, I'm not that kind of, it's just not like our custom. But here it is. So I asked this fellow in Mexico, I said, can you, and as it happens, it's the same word, guapo. I said, is it okay for a man to call another man guapo? He said, no. So evidently it's like in the States.
Really?
But here, they mean nothing, nothing more than just, hey, good looking or something. But there's no there's no hidden meaning or anything.
There's no agenda behind it.
No, men you call guapo, and women you call guapa, and Gloria all the time when she comes wants a waitress. Oi, guapa, we want to order or something, So I thought that was very curious, and one of the things that people that have never been here to the Philippines, I think maybe they would be interested in knowing some of the customs that are different than in the States.
Yeah. So, on that note, I would just say I can relate on a personal level that I find that to be a big stress reducer. We had a little internet hiccup there. It's because in the States I'm always I have to be politically correct, and I'm always sort of second guessing myself before I say anything. Now it's been a long time since I've been there. I'm coming up on 4 years since I've been home, but over here I can say. I can be with May, and I can talk to a waitress, and I can say, hey, darling, hey, guapa, hey, beautiful, whatever, and no one gets offended. It doesn't bother May that I just called another woman beautiful. It's just accepted because there's no agenda behind it. And in the States, it feels like everybody's waiting to find out what you really mean, and are you biased, or are you bent this way, or something going on. And it's just a more uptight kind of social dynamic, in the States than it is here. So I find it to be what you're talking about to be very, very relaxing. And I've gotten super frustrated. I've never yelled at anybody, but I've gotten super frustrated, like when something's out of stock, and I've been to the fifth place and it's out of stock, and I'll go to May and I'll go, oh, and everybody just kind of laughs at you, Where in the States, somebody would say, hey, buddy.
Yeah, right. Oh man, out of stock. That's a good phrase. Hey, that's a segue for an experience that I had the other day, ordering stuff, which may be an interesting topic for some people. Ordering things, Lazada, Shopee, Amazon.
Yeah.
But I've kind of, I never ordered anything COD before. I just, if I got my philosophy, if I got the money, I pay it. If I don't have it, I don't pay it. But I've kind of changed my mind. Somebody said, no, if you order something and you order a COD, you look at it, it's not what you wanted, then you haven't paid for it. Send it back. So the old El Cheapo starts saying, that may be a good idea. Although a while back, I ordered a violin bow, which I got a big old bass. It's huge, but anyway, nevertheless. So I started ordering things COD, and this one, and the ones that are not here in the Philippines familiar with it, they have different couriers. And like if you order something FedEx or somebody sends you FedEx, DHL, don't expect the big FedEx truck to be pulling out in front of you. No. It's always a little guy on a motorcycle with a big old box in the back. And the Lazada, I think Shopee, Amazon uses different couriers, but Lazada has Ninja Van.
Ninja Van is the best.
Yeah, it seems to be the best. Yeah, and fortunately, this fella knows where I live. I mean, or maybe that's unfortunate. But anyway, most guys say I say my barangay, and then they'll say when they get here, they'll say where exactly, because here in the Philippines, it's kind of like there's no numbers on the house. I know I'm telling you, this, no address. So you go down to the corner with 3 coconut trees. You turn right, then you'll see a water buffalo, grazing in the grass. Yeah. Turn left there. Yeah. Go to the goats. They're in my front yard.
Yeah.
So what I know.
With 4 chickens.
And loud roosters. Well, this fella comes, and also after you order so many, you'll get to know whether they come in the morning or in the afternoon, because as you know, I take off. Gloria and I take off in the mornings. So I wanted to take off this morning, but I had an obligation to go on a live stream with some crazy, YouTuber, so I had to stay home this morning. But I still have my coffee.
I feel your pain.
Yeah. So I got this one courier. I said, do you have any problem with it? Because I'm sensitive about the reputation of us foreigners here, and I don't want, I want to be the opposite of all the ugly Americans, not American, but all foreigners that are not behaving. Yeah. And so I said, you look like you're upset. Did you have a problem? He said, yeah, this is foreigner. He didn't say what nationality. It doesn't make any difference. He said, he made me pay him. I go, what? He made you pay him? He said, yeah, he opened up the package. It wasn't what he wanted. And I told him he had to go to the company. And he said, no. So he called me up and he started saying all these cuss words and stuff. I go, oh my gosh. So, that's not good behavior. And I hate to see that. So that kind of gives me incentive to give them a little tip, when they come. I mean, if it's 460 pesos and I give them 500, come on. So anyway, I don't know how I got on that, but I'm sure you got me on it somehow.
No, it was all your idea. I didn't want to talk about that at all.
I didn't either. I only did it because I thought you wanted to talk about it. Other than that, no.
But what on that topic, it's with when the guys come out, I always make sure that I open up the package and check it, because one time, I think I shared this with you last time we were having coffee.
I was listening anyway.
That's true. I ordered two things. One was 1,000 pesos. One was 500. Round numbers for this story.
Yeah.
And so the guy came, and I said, 1,000 pesos, and he just kind of looked at me. So I took the package without checking it. I gave him 1,000 pesos. I came inside the house, and I opened it up, and it was the 500 peso one. And so I thought, oh well, that ain't right, but it's okay. Now, I'm not one of those guys that's called Lazada or Shopee and wanted to report the guy. I know there's guys like that. It was like, you know what? I own this. It was up to me. Buyer beware, right? I should have opened up the package and looked at it. And when I said 1,000 pesos, I don't think he even knew what I was talking about. I think he just took it, and maybe he thought I was trying to give him 1,000 pesos. So again, the next guy came, and I didn't give him as big a tip.
my brother told me one time, Lance, who lives in Mindanao. He told me one time.
Mindanao,
that in his wallet he had 1,000 pesos and 100 pesos, and he had something done, repaired. It was like 70 pesos. So he thought he gave the guy 100 pesos. The guy said, no, that's too much. Lance said, that's okay, that's fine. No, that's too much, sir. And Lance said, no, that's nothing. Go ahead. When Lance got home, he realized that he'd given the guy 1,000 instead of 100. Oops. Yeah, you're right. It looked too much.
It was too much.
Oh.
Yeah, that tripped me out. One of the first weeks I was here, I went to the Moon Cafe at Robinson's. Remember Moon Cafe at Robinson's before
behind
COVID?
It was behind Robinson.
Yeah, and so I went in there by myself. It was my first week in town, and I think I got a bill for, let's just call it 320 pesos, and I left 400 because the rest was going to be a tip. And the guy chased me out of the restaurant with my change. I couldn't believe it. It was really heartwarming. And anyway, that's one of the little bennies over here. But we were going to talk about, what were we going to talk about? We were talking about Chismas. I was going to have you go over that. Well, that's not all things. One thing I like to do on the little channel here, Bud, is I think that we're both guilty. Most of us are guilty of sometimes painting too bright of a picture of the Philippines. And I think it's misleading. You know what I mean? We call it our paradise. We use words like paradise and tropical and beautiful. And while it's all those things, it still has its underbelly, if you will. Sure. And so when guys get here, there are going to be disappointments. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be customs that you have to adjust to. And there's just going to be flat out things that you don't like and make you uncomfortable. So one thing that I know both you and I have experienced, because we have partners, is words, sticks and stones will break our bones, but words will never hurt us. You and I were raised with that. So it was like, if you hit me, you're going to break my nose. That's going to be a problem. But if you just talk smack about me, who cares? Just consider the source and move on. But over here, it's the opposite. Two guys can get lit up on Red Horse and just blast each other. And then the next day they say, oh, we're still friends. We were drunk, and no big deal. But if you insult his family and make him lose face, That's a big problem.
Yeah.
And it's, I think, even worse for the females. I think it's compounded 10 times for the females. That's my spin on it. I just want to know what your spin on it is. Do you agree, disagree, or have something to add or take away?
Well, normally I disagree with everything you say, but this time.
That's why I feel so at home.
This time I'll say
you're starting to look like my ex-wife.
Oh, thank you. Guapa.
She disagreed with everything I said too.
Oh, Gloria. I'll say, let's do A. No, B is better. Let's go left. No, right. Go to right. Honey! But anyway, on this topic of chismes, which, unless people don't know, it means like gossiping. So chismes. We had a very severe, and Tagalog, they call it grabe. Grabe means like severe, grave experience that actually changed how we how we lived and where we lived.
Isn't that interesting?
We lived in the barangay Batingel, and the ones that are not familiar with Philippines, barangay like neighborhoods. So there's even have barangay captains, which is. I'm waiting for you to say that's a yes or no question, but I'm taking off.
Just waiting for me to slap you, aren't you?
Okay, back to the subject at hand. Oh my gosh, Paul. So we lived in this place for 4 years. So normally we don't live someplace that long, and we always had our helper pay rent, pay bills, this, that. That's what helpers are for. And the ones that are, I know I've gotten bad now from people that are not familiar with the way it is here. You let somebody handle your money and I never trust anybody. But, it's just helpers run errands for you, they'll pay your bills, they'll, do things that you don't want to do. And so it was not unusual for us to have this gal pay our bills and stuff. One time, this man on a motorcycle looked like a ninja van driver. He said, hello, I'm coming to hello. He said, payment for the Rusco. That's when we had the Molly Mobile. I said, payment for the Rusco? He said, no. He said, you haven't paid it on the. Yeah, I paid it. I'm thinking, must misunderstanding, missed the payment in the mail or something. So I called our helper. She just lived behind us. And I said, the man's here said something about payment. You have the receipts, right? Oh, yeah, I got all the receipts. So she came and she told him to come to her place. So and then he left. So I'm thinking, hey, okay, misunderstanding. She showed him the receipt because you know what's coming up. So pretty soon, Gloria's hearing his chismes about Browns don't pay the bills. They're foreigners, but they don't pay the bills. What? That can't be about the Molly Mobile. No. The rumor was that we weren't paying our rent for 2 months. What? So Gloria, she goes straight to. There's a sorry store right on the corner there, about a block away. She went there, and they told her that was the gal that was spreading the rumors. So she said, what are you doing? Said we don't pay. She said, no, I'll tell you. Says, what happened was the landlord called and asked me if you guys still live there. And I told him, yeah, that they're still there. So she said, well, they haven't paid their rent in 2 months. What? So we went back, and I told Gloria, I said, hey, something's fishy here. And so I said, let's check the other. So we checked the water, not paid. Checked the electricity, not paid. The cable, nothing's paid. What? And so it turned out that the helper, you could see this coming, the helper was not paying the bills. So I'm wondering why. We've had her for 4 years. This suddenly, the last 3 or 4 months, she's not paying her bill. So it turns out that she had won big in the bingo. You know, there's a lottery and bingo and stuff that the Filipinos can make some easy money, right? Winning on bingo. Right. So I want to have a face-to-face talk with her. No. So she said, no. She knows that we know. I told her we don't need her services anymore. I said, yeah, but I want to talk to her. I want to find out, are you on drugs or what happened? And Gloria said, no, because, you know, like you're saying, the face, she knows we know. So it would be a too much of an embarrassment. Of course, as an American, we're like, come on, you know, we want to get things out in the open. Let's put everything on the table. That's just our way. So even though we didn't pay her anymore, we basically fired her. The whole neighborhood, chismes, Browns don't pay their rent. It became so unbearable for Gloria that we moved. And so it's been 3 or 4 years, and we may move back there because Gloria went there to go check the temperature, see if the dust has settled down, you know, and everybody knows the truth.
Sure.
And so I think, yeah.
No, I think that the moral of the story is that it's something for people that don't live out here that are coming out here. Because I know there's a lot of guys chomping at the bit to get out here. And you have to be you mentioned social media. You have to be very careful about what you post. And if you mention anybody's name, and sarcasm does not fly out here with Filipinos.
Good point.
Don't get sarcasm. One time my landlady sent me my previous landlady sent me a message that she was going to collect the electric bill. And I asked her what time, and she said after lunch. And it was like I had things to do that day. And so I, in my cheeky fashion, said, well, are you having a late lunch? Are you having an early lunch? You know, is there an approximate time that you think you'll be done with lunch?
Yeah.
Because I have things to do. And I wanted a time. I wanted her to say 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And she was Filipina, and she said after lunch. And I got cheeky with her. And she said, well, if you don't like it, Paul, you can go pay the bill yourself. You can take it down there. So I have to watch myself also. And so sarcasm does not fly. And then idle gossip, and especially if it has anything to do on a super personal level, like you're talking about, the Browns don't pay their bills.
Exactly.
You know, or anything,
they're foreigners, and they're rich. Everybody knows foreigners are rich, so that's even worse. You know, the rich people are not.
Yeah. Now you're also talking about money, so let's watch. Since people get really uncomfortable about talking about money, I say we talk about it. So, what did you want to talk about money? I'm trying to figure out how to change this around here so it's. Hold on, let me.
Well, you made yourself bigger. If you can make yourself smaller, more.
That would be better, wouldn't it? I'm trying to get rid of this comment. Do you know how to do that? Because it's in the way.
Well, you've added and taken away comments.
Yeah, but I don't want any comment up there because it's like blocking your face. So let me see if I can do this. Wait, there we go. All right, I figured it out. So I'm not taking any comments. It's just you guys are just going to have to listen to me and Bud babble about it. But please feel free to make comments. We're just not going to pay any attention to them.
Well, I did see one comment there that said, you're kind of getting an echo there. I think it's coming out of your speaker and into your laptop again. I mean, it's hard enough, listening to me once, but hearing me plus an echo, I'm hearing it. I don't know if anybody else is hearing it or not.
I don't hear any echo. I'm not even using any microphone or anything because I gave up after last time. I could hear you, but I couldn't, or you couldn't hear me, or something like that. And it was just too many gizmos. So
echoes come when you have a speaker coming out. Like if I have this, if I had this speaker here, this portable speaker,
yeah,
then it would come out that speaker, and then it would also go into the laptop, so it would kind of a loop. That's okay.
yeah. Well, I've got no devices on here, so we'll just see how it rolls.
Yeah.
So money, money. I think it's fair to tell these guys this. Number one, if you're watching YouTube videos about budgets or anything, and Bud does budget videos, and every 4 or 5 months I try to do a budget video because I think they need to be updated. Yeah. But I think it's fair to say that when I first started watching your channel and other guys back in 2012, the rental bar was set at 10,000 pesos or 200 bucks. That was what I based everything on back in 2012. And right now, I would say the bar is set at $400. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
Well,
that's 20,000 pesos.
Yeah. Well, like you said, 10,000 when we got here was it was a fairly good deal. It wasn't that easy to find 10,000. I mean, it depends on what you get, of course. You got to live under a bridge, or But the lady raised our rent after a couple of years to 13,000, which I felt, hey, that's okay. Then a couple of years later, she was going to raise it to 15,000, but that was about the time when the cheese maze was overbearing, so we left. So I told Gloria, and we have our budget, and realistically, now that we've been here, we've been in Dumaguete 6 years now, and we were in Cebu for 3 years, so 9 years altogether. What you get and what you can afford. So even though our budget is not that much, I think we talked about this before. Before it was $1,000 a month, now $1,500. So for our budget of $1,500, I told Gloria, after we've lived in a couple of houses that were a little bit, we had a contract, so we stayed there a year.
Sure.
But I said, honey, we'll go up to 15 or even 20 if it's nice. So our budget now, if we ever go to another place, which we might, is anywhere from 15 to 20, actually 18 to 20. Yep. So, I mean, we could go to 20, but, there's certain things that are important to some people and certain things that are not so important.
Right. Right.
So
right. But you and I were having coffee, and I think we agreed because, in most cases, I think not just here, but anywhere in the world, your rent is probably your biggest payment out of your budget. And then after that would be a car and then the insurance and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. And then food and medical and all that hoo-ha. But, and so it's interesting because I came over here 4 years ago hoping for $1,000 budget, which I never seemed to be able to make. And you were living on 1,000. And right now, my budget, now that I'm settled in and I've kind of got my finger on what's going on and where to go and how to stretch a buck and whatnot, my budget is 15. And now your budget, you're saying, is 15. Yeah. So I think that's a fair budget to live. But you and I also live a very similar lifestyle in that we're morning people. And you and Gloria, we actually have about the same routine. We just end up in different places, it seems, But you will take off early in the morning with Gloria. You'll drop Gloria off for the most part. Exactly. She'll go do whatever it is she does, God knows. And then you go and
that's right. You get right on the button there, buddy.
And none of us really want to know what that is.
No, I don't want
to know. And so, but you'll go for 2 hours and you'll do your language thing at McDonald's or GG's or one of your watering holes, breakfast places, coffee deal, and you just kind of do your thing with your passion, which is your hobby and your craft and what interests you, and then you'll have a bite to eat, and then you'll pick Gloria up. And then you'll maybe run her 2 or 3 places, depends on where she wants to do and what's going on. And then by 2 o'clock, I'm going to venture to say, you're home.
By noon. 1 o'clock the latest.
Noon. Really?
Yeah.
It starts getting hot, doesn't it?
Yeah. At nap time. Nap time.
It's nap time. Yeah. Yeah. And we're not afraid, being men of a mature level, that we like our naps in the afternoon. And so I've always said May and I are the most boring couple in Dumaguete, but I think you got me beat.
Well, I believe firmly that naps are underrated for most people. When I take a nap, I mean, not only my body, but my mind, who's going all different ways, it settles down. And when I wake up from a nap, man, I'm ready to hit it again.
Sure.
So, and, I'm going to real quickly segue to how I'm feeling. And I talked to the fellow the other day. He's just a couple years older than I am. I think he's 73 or so, and I'm 71. But we were talking, and he said that now that he's on the downhill side of life, and I think, what? Downhill side? And, that was his, it's all downhill from here. But to me, Paul, man, I'm like a locomotive. When I was a teenager, I wasn't going that fast. But as I get older, I mean, can you imagine? You have all the free time in the world. We're at where we're at. And you're going to get paid every month where you do work or sleep in. Hey, let's just go for it. So I feel like I'm on a locomotive that's just getting faster and faster as time goes by. No, I may hit a wall one day, but hey, that's okay.
Well, I think the key word to that, Bud, is purpose. Guys like you and guys like myself, we wake up every morning with a purpose. And the purpose might be just to get this done by noon, take a nap, and then, spend time with the wife or play around with YouTube or whatever. But we stay busy. I know that you do. I know that I do. We stay occupied. We stay busy. There's the flip side of that is the danger zone, where a guy's got nothing to do and all day to do it. And the operative word being that he's got nothing to do. And that's kind of like, there's an old saying that idle time is the devil's workshop. Or idle hands or devil. You tend to get into trouble. And so that's where I see that would be another warning, I reckon. I don't like to give advice, but it would be something that I've observed. I've observed that guys that come over here and have no purpose, no hobby, no plan, not enough money, whatever it might be. Those are the guys that tend up to be very unhappy or feel like they failed or turn to alcohol or something to that effect,
Yeah,
so
you have to have a purpose.
I don't know if
there's
there's no moral to the story there. There's no advice. There's no cure. But it's observations, I have been occupied. I think I've been bored 5 times in 4 years.
Yeah.
And I mean, even when I was reined in and had a fever and an earache and didn't feel good, I still wasn't bored. I was, home.
Yeah.
And I think that in the States, when we were working, you were saying that you feel like a locomotive that's taken off. And I think that you were a school teacher and I was, in other words, we were full-time employees, both.
Right.
And I feel like we had to show up at that job. Right. And that really throttled us back, because not necessarily just the job, but the fact that you had to get up at a certain time. You had to shave. You had to commute. You had to do the job. After the job, you had to follow up. Then you had to pick up dinner or make dinner, come home. And so the day was kind of spoken for you. You know, it wasn't your day. It was the job's day. And everything you did pretty much revolved around the job. And so that was your purpose. But you didn't have any chance to really be you. You know, you were being what the job needed you to be, or what the family needed you to be, or how the highway patrolman needed you to be while you drove to work. And you were busy making everybody else happy. These are the times where this guy says he's going downhill. I say, baby, you're on the launch pad. You know, you got this backwards. Really, this is the chance for you to get on a plane and go someplace you've never been before and see what happens. Exactly. This is a time for you to go to a strange place and get lost on purpose, because what the hell, you know, tomorrow will come. If you get lost and you get scared, or you go someplace new, as long as you don't put yourself in danger, that would be different. You know, that'll wake up your senses if nothing else does. And I just think it's healthy to challenge yourself every day.
It is.
And we have been in our routines, but we face challenges every day also.
Right. Well, I was contemplating sometimes at the end of the day, well, every night, and before I go to sleep, I lay there and kind of think about the day, you know. What did I do? What I should have said? What I could have said? And that's so I kind of like summarize the day. And I got to think, why is it so enjoyable for me to get up and, you know, we get our dress, get our dress. Even Gloria doesn't wear a dress, but we get up and take off, and then come back a few hours later. And then I got to thinking, you know, it's the work routine, the work schedule. It's like I'm getting up and going to work, but enjoyable, doing what I want to do. And then I come back. Want to do. I mean, I could have stayed home. I could stay home and do exactly the same thing. You know, I got my laptop. I can study my languages. I can have my coffee. I can do exactly the same thing at home. But I don't. There's something about getting up, leaving the house, you know, doing my thing, and then coming back, and I'm ready to. By noon or 1 o'clock, that's it. Like, even though people have invited us for lunch and dinner, when they come here, they like to, you know, and I like to meet people too. Sure. But to get up and you know, when I'm basically hunkered down for the day, it's not kind of uncomfortable. But on the other hand, Paul, it's always been enjoyable. We've been here 6 years. I may have gone out after 5, maybe half a dozen times, 6 times. Right. It's always been enjoyable, though. I'm always glad I did.
Right. And you have the same dynamic as me, is that I've been to a couple of functions with you after dark. And one I remember was Jamrock. Remember the opening of Jamrock? That was the night your TV show premiered. I remember that. And you had to get home for that. And then there was Ed's birthday at Octagon. Okay, I saw you there. And you and me had a laugh-a-thon at the Octagon. Remember, we were telling jokes and making fun of stuff, and we got a little off color, and it was just, and Mike was there, and we were just crying, laughing, and that was an awesome time, you know. But the one thing is that Gloria didn't go with you, and May didn't go with me. They don't like to go to that kind of stuff. It's just not their thing. You know, they're a homebody.
Exactly.
And so a lot of when you say about the invitations and everything, I've quit arguing with her, because I'll say, hey, May, this girl's in town. She's a vlogger, or this guy wants to meet for lunch or dinner or whatever. And so, most of the time she says, you just go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, I've learned, don't force. Oh, man.
No.
I kind of twisted her arm a couple times. Oh, I regret that. Man. I learned that throwing gasoline on fire, it doesn't put it out.
No. No.
I did see a comment earlier. It said, "Is Bud married to a Filipina?" So the answer is definitely. Matter of fact, we're going to celebrate our 50th, the Golden, this year in September.
Wow.
So, can't believe it, man. And I tell people, I can't believe I never dreamed that I would wake up in the morning next to a 70-year-old woman.
And you know what's weird? You know what's weird? It still sounds creepy.
Yeah. Well, she probably thinks the same thing. She probably thought she'd never wake up next to a 71-year-old man. Oh, Lord have mercy. Oh, my. Yeah, well.
So did we miss anything talking about money? We were jicky-jacking around with money. You got any words of wisdom here as far as transferring money?
I know one thing that a lot of people are curious about is sending money.
Sending money. There you go.
How do you get money? You know, you're here. So I'll just say that I have my main bank that my income is just a pension, teacher's pension, and Social Security. So, and by the way, many people probably don't know that California teachers, I don't know about the other ones, we don't pay it to Social Security. So the money that most people pay into Social Security, it went into our pension plan. So if I were to have been just a teacher and nothing else, then I wouldn't have Social Security. But my first 20 years, I was in construction, an old grumpy plasterer. So he put in Social Security, and that's the Social Security that I'm getting from not the teacher. So anyway, it's automatic deposit into my Citibank in California. And now the big question is, how do you get that money from your bank, American bank, into the Philippines? And I've learned different ways of getting it, accessing it. The worst way, the most inefficient way, is taking your debit card, my Citibank debit card, putting it into an ATM here and pulling money out. I do it sometimes, but if I need it right then and there, I'll do it. It's like, it's like 7-Eleven. You don't want to go pay, premium prices, but if you need it and it's right there, then you got to pay the price. So, as you know, that ATMs here for foreign debit cards, they charge 250 pesos, $5 per withdrawal, and you can only pull out 10,000 at one time, so $5.
That's right.
And so I don't know if they even let you take out more than 2 withdrawals. Somebody said you couldn't. You could only take 2 withdrawals per day, but I've never needed that. So the highest withdrawal would be $200. So 2 withdrawals would be $400. But for 400, well, I looked at my what do you call it in English? My invoice on Citibank. I pulled out $200, which is 10,000 pesos. Not only did the ATM charge me $5, the bank charged me $6.50 for a foreign transaction fee. That's over $11, plus the rate of pesos to dollars is low. So, for $200, you're paying $12, $13, $14.
Right.
So, but one guy did tell me, he says, the thing is, you got your money, it's taken out of the bank, whereas a lot of times these transfer services, it's like writing a check. They'll give you your money, but it's not taken out of the bank for a few days, So if you're the kind of person that only looks at your balance to see, how much money you got in there, it could be, you can be fooled thinking that you've got more than you actually have.
More than you got, right?
Yeah.
The check hasn't hit yet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so just to wrap this up, a lot of people will say, "What do you use to transfer money?" I've used Zoom, XOOM.com, and then they fired me because I couldn't remember my security questions. So they said you'll have to find another service. And then I said, "You don't fire me, I fire you. I don't even want your damn services anyway." Sour grapes. And I've tried Remitly, and that was a good one, but I can't remember why I'm not using it now. But right now we're using TransferWise. It seems to be okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll let me jump on two of those topics: the ATM and the transfer. Um, I don't have this service. I have to go to America to sign up for it because you actually have to do it from America. And people have said you can do it from the Philippines. I know guys have done it from the Philippines and they've gotten shut down later.
What are you talking about?
You're here. I'm talking about Charles Schwab.
Oh, yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
Charles Schwab is, if anybody, I've said this 1,000 times because this is the only piece of advice that I give, is, or try to make it, is if you're going to come out here, I don't know how to do it. I've never done it. I don't have one. I wish I did. But if I was to go back and start all over again from square one before I came out here, I would have opened up a Charles Schwab account. In a Charles Schwab account, you can go to the proverbial ATM like you're talking about, and they're still going to ding you for the $5, $10, $12 that you're talking about. But at the end of the month, Charles Schwab reimburses you on all those fees.
That's what I
so
hear.
It ends out being an even wash. Okay.
Right.
I use Zoom, and people say they still don't understand how that works. So Zoom, Remitly, TransferWise, they all have different fee schedules and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think Zoom is a little more expensive than TransferWise. I have TransferWise set up, but I haven't used it because I don't want to go through all the rigmarole of the first time withdrawal. All the security questions and back and forth, and what's your code and all this, that, and the other. I just take the path of least resistance. So I use Zoom, but what happens is, so Bud and I are each going to take out our $1,500 once a month. At least that's how I do it. And so then you pay one fee, and I think it's $9 or $10 that we pay to get that $1,500. It's not a deal breaker. Could be low as 6 or 7 on some other services. However, so I'll go to Zoom. I'll say, send Paul McGill in America is sending Paul McGill in the Philippines $1,500. That's how that works. And it gives me a 10-digit code number, and I just have to screenshot that because my internet's not going to work once I get to a pawn shop or a money changing place. So I always screenshot the number so I can pull it up on my phone or write it down the old-fashioned way. And when I go in and fill out the form, it's my name, my address, how much money, and that 10-digit number. You give it to the person at the window. They chicky-jack around for as long as they have to. And then I take it back in pesos because of the exchange rates right there on the wall. Now in a perfect world, we'd be getting 50 pesos per dollar like we were a few months ago. Now we're getting about 47. So the old budget might go to 1,600. It's at that point on where do we want to go. The good news is we can always cut back and save that $100. I think you'll agree that we probably piddle away a good couple $300 a month on stuff we never really needed. A cup of coffee, that get together, those donuts that look so good. To answer questions for guys that are watching, there's a service. Always recommend that you set all this stuff up prior to coming out here. You get the name, the address, the confirmation codes, all that wackadoodle stuff done. And then the last thing on money is make sure that you have, at least for your first transaction, the ability to receive a phone call. So I always tell guys, when you're first coming over here, maintain your American phone number. Go to T-Mobile or Verizon. Say, I want the international plan for another $15. Because the first time you're going to call Zoom, or the first time I called Zoom to do the transfer, I didn't call them. I did it online. They wanted to send me a text to make sure it was me. And that was the only way it was going to work. And I've known 3 guys now that didn't have an international number. They went to Zoom over their money, and Zoom said, well, I'm going to send you a text. And they can't get a text because they don't have a phone that works with an American number over here. And they never got their money. They had to go to an ATM. And same story, like where they fired you say, because you forgot your security questions. They got the same result. And that's agony when you're over here, especially new, and you're trying to move over your money to pay your rent, or you know, you've overspent because you're new and you're doing everything wrong like I did. And then you need to get that money and you can't. Now you're really going psycho. So those are, I don't like to give advice, but my advice is set yourself up with a service that will get your money to you so you don't have to, or use Charles Schwab, and make sure that at least for the first transfer, the first 60 days that you're here, at least maintain your international number. Now there's going to be 100 guys that are going to comment on here that you don't need to keep your international number, that you can do this, and you can get this app and Google Voice and Magic Jack and all these other knucklehead things, which is great. Please make those comments. I'm all about saving $1. But for me, the $15 was brainless, and I'm lazy, and it was easy. So there, you know, I just, for the first 60 days, I kept my goofy number. I paid the $30, and then I canceled T-Mobile, and I switched over to Globe out here for $12. So that's all I've got to say about that.
I see that Mr. Ron is asking if you can use a Skype local number. I have a Skype local number that I have. When I say local, I mean it's a California number that I'm paying Skype. I'm not sure if you can use that for these money transfers, but I got my my bill for Skype is $50, and how many times have people use that number in California? I won't. Not even, well, one fella called me once in the whole year, and I'm saying $50 or you know, once a year. So I'm not using that anymore. I think it's because maybe WhatsApp or other apps make it easier to communicate than
I got a hot tip from a guy. I needed to call my bank. I needed to call my credit card company. And again, I had canceled the T-Mobile years ago. And so I was trying to figure out, do I Skype these people? Do I do this? Do I do that? Because it's so rarely do I need to call America. I mean, it's like once a year, maybe. And so, because everything else I can do on Messenger for free. If my sister wants to talk to me, we go on Messenger. If a kid wants to talk to me, we talk on Messenger. We don't need a phone. But I needed to call my bank anyway. So here's the hot tip. I downloaded a dealio called Viber. Viber.
Viber. I've heard
and
of
it's
that,
like a purple. And so it's kind of like a phone. And you can use it free on 800 numbers. Can't use it to call my kid in the 702 area code, but I can call a 1-800 number for free. And they can put me on hold for 30 minutes. It doesn't matter. There's no timeout. There's no charge.
Does the receiving end have to have Viber also?
No, it just calls their. For some reason, Viber is 800 friendly, and that was a friend of mine told me about that. And I thought, hey, let me pass that on, because again, I don't ever call there. If I need to do anything, I do it via the messenger. That's why I have Facebook, is for the messenger part mostly.
I know.
You know, I mean, I know you don't like Facebook because people get in your face and then they comments.
That happens in real life, but you know, that's not a big deal. But you know, Facebook. My thing with Facebook is that I have trouble saying no to people that extend their hand in friendship. Will you be my friend? Well, and I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to be your, but actually, I don't know you. It's hard. It goes against my nature to turn down friend requests. And then, of course, when I accept it, and then they send me a message, and then, I'm so busy or I don't know what, but then I get, it looks like you're not going to respond to after you accepted my friend request. What kind of friend are you? Yeah, you don't call, you don't write. What kind of friends are supposed to hang out together? So anyway, that's my thing with Facebook. But I did what I saw real quick. I'm kind of glancing at the comments. Somebody asked if they use dollars there, meaning here. So I wanted just to say something about dollars. People are surprised when they'll come to a little store here, maybe a sorry store, and they'll say the thing is 100 pesos, and they pull out a $20 bill. The owner's going to say, "I'm sorry, sir, we don't know what they don't know what to do with it." What I mean, in theory, they could take it. They have to do some sort of exchange rate. They could take it down to the bank or exchange rate. But in reality, in practicality, they would 99.9% prefer you just pay pesos. What are they going to do with the $20 bill or $100 bill? At a sorry store. In a lot of these stores, they just won't.
Right.
I don't know. I don't want to say they won't take it, but I'll say they definitely don't want to take it. No, they prefer pesos.
In many cases, they can't take it.
They can't take it.
They don't have change.
No.
That's what May told me the other day. She said, I need to go up to the local, I need to walk up and get a whatever she needed to get. And the smallest bill I had on me was 500. And she said, no, I know this place because all she wants to buy is 22 pesos. And there's no way they're going to have 478 pesos to give her back. Not first thing in the morning. Maybe at the end of the evening they would. But I have found problems. Well, not problems, but I've learned my little games that I play. I play games is if you do go, let's say you go take the proverbial 10,000 pesos out of the ATM, right? You're going to have 10 1,000 peso notes. To me, that's a problem because I'm not going to spend that much. I'm going to spend it in 100 peso increments, 50 pesos, 200 pesos. And it's a problem almost pretty much anywhere you go to try to not have close to exact change. So if I go to, I'll make it a point and I'll go to 7-Eleven and I'll buy something that maybe I don't even need, like a bottle of water, and I'll give them 1,000 pesos because I know the 7-Eleven can crack it. They don't like it. They might have to go to 2 cash registers. They're asking, sir, don't you have 20 pesos? And I got to go, no, I'm an idiot foreigner. Sorry, all I got is a big 1,000, And I'll get my change. Yeah, me too. I always apologize. And I actually mean it too, because I know it's a hassle for them. But now I've got some hundreds and some 50s, and now you can operate for the rest of the day with folks. And I always take a handful of coins with me now too. Because you got the parking attendants. I got that figured out. And then if you can, man, I'll tell you what, man, if it's 342 pesos, if you can actually count out 340 and then reach in and find the 2, you are a rock star in that clerk's mind. Okay. Now you're going to go down a little bit if you give them 345 because now they got to dig out the 3. They do not like to give freaking change here. I just don't like it. And my biggest kick was, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I had at my old apartment, there was this, I mean, I know I'm old. We all know you're really old, but I went to this sorry store where the lady, if you can believe this, is older than you, which is hard to believe. I almost can't bring myself to say it, but this poor woman was older than Bud Brown. It's hard to imagine. And she was manning the sorry store. And I went in and I bought something. I can't even remember. Oh, I know. I bought an Aloxan, which is a pain pill. I was having an issue with my back, and I think it was 10 pesos. And I gave her 20, and she brought out the calculator.
Oh, poor thing.
But she kept screwing it up. And so
just tell her.
It was hot, and I was buying the pill because I was in pain.
Yeah.
So I was like a cork floating in water, waiting for this lady to figure out that she owed me. I almost said, just give me 2 and we'll call it a day.
Yeah, sometimes I just tell them. I said, okay, you owe me.
I made a mental note of that. Whenever I would actually peek around the corner and see who was manning the booth. If it was the old lady, I said, I don't need it that bad. I'd turn around and come home. If it was her daughter, I'd say, oh, okay, I'll go down there and buy whatever I need.
Yeah.
So, little things about money, man, is transferring money, ATM cards, Charles Schwab, and small denominational bills out here. And one other thing, a little topper that we can add on there, I guess, just for grins, is forget using your credit card or debit card. You know how in America you go to 7-Eleven and you just tap it and you walk out with your cheese dog and your Cheetos and your Slurpee? Well, not here. Yeah. They don't take it there.
Yeah.
Take over the show, bud. I'm going to get a refill on my coffee.
Okay. Well, I was just going to tell Paul, but he's not here, that there is an ATM here in Dumaguete that dispenses 500 pesos. He said that, and it's true, that 95% you're going to get 1,000 peso bills. But, okay, I'm going to stop talking. He's here. So remember what I told you when Paul was gone.
So this is about the time that Bud's supposed to shave off his eyebrows. So everybody sit back, relax, and this is going to be exciting. Are you ready, folks?
Oh, no, it looks like I'm losing the signal. Paul, I don't know what's going on here. My signal's really getting bad.
So I have a dilemma. You and I have been here talking like old men do, and we have not answered any comments. And I don't know how long it's going to take to get through them. So what do you recommend?
Okay, I got 15 minutes before Gloria pulls my leash.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to do this. I want to say a blanket thank you to everybody for commenting. And what happened here is Bud and I got off on a bender, and we stopped looking at the comments.
I know.
And normally we would post them. And it's my fault. Yeah, okay, Bud. Next time we'll go on your channel. You can show me how it's done. But I do want to give a blanket acknowledgement to everyone that said hi and shared, and continue to discuss amongst yourselves, I guess. So Bud's gracing us with 15 more minutes. And what would you like to do now, Bud? Would you like to sing a song? Do you have a magic trick?
Well, I do have
juggle some plates on a stick. I mean, what do you got?
I would get out my fiddle. Uh-oh. Glorious. They knock on the door. I'll pretend like I don't hear it. I would get out my fiddle, but that's another thing. Playing my fiddle and doing anything. The challenge of doing something. And so the studying the languages and practicing my fiddle, even though it sounds horrible, I have to say to myself, little by little, I'll get it little by little. And so no matter what you do, this is philosophical, I guess, but anyway, even coming over here, you plan, you get things ready little by little, it'll happen. So, but also, I just remembered one thing I wanted to say, getting a Filipino bank account. I thought when I was in the States, I thought to myself, man, wouldn't that be cool to have a little bank account in every country, and then like multiple passports and, the spy genre thing. And so I just thought it was only in my head, but when we did that movie thing, they did pay us what they call an honorarium. You know, Gloria didn't want to do it. They said, "Oh, we'd like to, make a movie about your love life." Gloria said, "Nah, that's personal, blah blah blah." And then they said, "We can pay you an honorarium." And I said, "Honey, they're going to pay us. They're going to give us money to do it." Huh? What exactly do they want? Isn't that funny? Money kind of motivates. Price, yeah. So I said all that to say that they had a check for us, and they said, "Now this is a BDO check, so we can just stick it in your BDO account," which people don't know. Banco de Oro is one of the bigger banks here. And I thought, oh, I don't have one. So that gave me an incentive to get one. So we went down to BDO, and what's it going to take to open an account here? They said, "Have you been in the Philippines 6 months?" By this time we'd been here a few years. Yeah. And need a 2,000 peso, $40, 2,000 peso deposit. That's the minimum deposit in there. So they looked at my passport and they said, "Oh, we got a little problem. Uh-oh. It says on your last entry date, it's only been 5 months." So we had, on a Bali buying, and tourist visas too, you come and go. Right. So it so happened that it had been 5 months since we just came into the Philippines.
From a trip, yeah.
So she said, come back, when you've been here continuously 6 months. So we came back a couple months later, opened the account, they deposited the money, Gloria was happy, and everybody. So we have a BDO account, and that's what. And we have a little BDO debit card too, so that's handy. It doesn't cost anything to pull money out of a BDO ATM. But any other Filipino ATM, BPI or one of the others, and they charge like 15 pesos or 18 pesos. So minimum. So anyway, that's that.
I did an entire video once about opening a bank account for May. It was just a nightmare, but it's a funny nightmare. It's one of those funny. It's one of those funny only in the Philippines deal. Where it took 2 days to open up an account and all the things that had to happen. I had a BDO account, and then they, for the longest time, I had a BDO account. The same thing. I had to have X amount of dollar minimum balance, which was fine. I had to have been in the country 6 months, which I was. I had a driver's license, so I had the things that they wanted to see. And my friend Sam, that used to be my neighbor, he went with me, and he knew the manager, so she kind of signed off on whatever I might have been missing. And so for the longest time, I enjoyed having my little BDO account. Well, 1 month I did my world famous transfer one time of funds, and I took it down to BDO to deposit the said funds so it would be safely in the bank. And then when I went outside to use the ATM, it wouldn't give me any money. So it said insufficient funds. So I tried it a couple of times. It didn't work. It always worked 3 seconds after I made a deposit. So I walked back into BDO and I said, "BDO, I just gave you, I think, $1,500, and all I want to do is pull out $200 so I have some spending money. What's going on? What is there something wrong with my account?" And they said, "Oh, there's nothing wrong with your account, but we have to hold your money now for 30 days. It's a new rule." And I said, "Well, when did that happen?" And they said, "Well, this month." And I said, "Well, where does it say that?" And they said, "Well, you should have got it on our website." I said, "Well, I'm not a member of your website. I just have a bank account. I don't do the inner banking stuff. I don't trust it here in the Philippines for what it's worth." And so she said, "Well, I'm really sorry. I can't give you your money for a month." And that was my monthly budget. And I had a few bucks on me, but so what I had to do was I had to stand there and be very cool, calm, and collected. And I said, "Well, how would I get my money?" And they said, "Well, you can't get it." I said, well, what if I close my account? And they said, well, you can't do that either. And I said, well, okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I never raised my voice. I said, here's what's going to happen. I said, that's my monthly budget that I just put in the bank. I had no idea that you were going to put a 30-day hold on cash. Not a check, not anything, not a wire transfer, nothing crazy. I just gave you $100 bills and asked you to put them in the bank, and you took them, and now I can't have 200 of my 1,500 back. I'm not mad at you. I know you didn't write the rule. I'm sure the rule's in place, but I have to have my money, so I'm going to stand here until I get it. And there's a lot of people in line behind me.
Yeah.
And then another guy came over, and he said, what's the problem? And I told him, and I said, why don't we do this? I said, why don't we just close my account? And that way you'll never have to see me again. I'll have my money, and we'll both win, because I'll have my money, but even you don't ever have to see my ugly face again, so you're really the big winner. And he goes, well, I can't do that. I said, well, I bet you can, because I'm not going to move until you do. I'm not going to raise my voice. I'm not going to get mad. I'm just going to let this line keep getting longer and longer and longer. Unless you have somebody pull me out of line, I'm going to stand here until you close my account. I bet you can pick up a phone, or you can push a button, or you can. And you know what? He said, excuse me. And he came back. He did pick up a phone. He did talk to somebody.
Yeah.
He said, listen, I got this idiot at Windows 6, you know?
Yeah.
And so he did push the magic button. He did close my account. I got my money, and they've never seen my ugly face again.
Now, I'm taking notes here. What do I have to do to get that result? Hey, I'm gonna have to get going, but I got one last thing I want to say.
All right,
there was a fella that made a comment. His name is Ben Dover. He said that chat is useless. So he could have said nothing and
right here,
and just gone on his way, but he decided to go out of his way to say something negative about the chat. Yeah.
You're on our little deal
Ben
today.
Dover.
I haven't been through any of these.
So I'm gonna just kind of make a note of his name, because people like that, they go out of their way to say negative or insult, and I'm gonna just remember that, so that they will be let into my house on YouTube.
Into your world.
My world.
Yeah. Again, it's like I want to just tell people there's one or two ways that you can do a live stream. You can either talk to the individual that you're sharing, so whenever I have somebody on, or I'm on somebody else's channel, usually we have a topic or something we want to talk about. And I think it's just more interesting for the audience. I think it's more interesting for us just to keep the stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
And I think the worst part about a live stream, even though it's fun, and I do this when I'm solo, is I'll click every comment as long as I can and say hello and shout out, and I'm glad you joined me, and say hello and welcome people to the show and all that kind of stuff. But you can't do both. So I can't be floating up comments here, because it takes away from our conversation.
Yeah.
And if guys are sitting here listening to us chit chat, we're talking about transferring money. We're talking about chismis. We're talking about matter of fact kind of stuff here. We're not setting the world on fire. We're not changing any rules or anything. We haven't, altered the course of anyone's reality. But hopefully guys can listen to this. And if they're, especially for the guys that are thinking about coming over here, maybe it helps them a little bit. They think about setting up a Zoom account. They know that according to Paul, if they open up a BDO account, I don't know what your experiences are doing. Maybe you have a peso account and I had a dollar account. Maybe that was the difference. That was probably the difference. But they put a hold on my money for 30 days. However, I am going to go down to a place called the Bank of Commerce, which has got only one branch out here. And I've heard they're really foreigner friendly. And I want to just have $500 or $1,000 or whatever I can do over here, so that when the internet goes down and I can't transfer my money, or the electricity goes off, or I got a place that I can walk into and maybe get some help or pick up some cash. Plan B, plan C, kind of thing.
Yeah, Bank of Commerce.
And then
that's a good one. Yeah.
There will be 100 comments on here saying, "Don't use BDO. I use this bank." Don't use Zoom. I use this. And so that's all good. Everybody can read the comments and get further information, because everybody watching, Bud, is a lot smarter than you and I put together. I can tell you that much.
That's true. That's true.
And then you did something real quick, and then we'll wrap it up, because I know you got to go. But I was doing a live stream solo, and you were watching it, and you never commented, so I didn't know you were here. But a guy had made a raunchy comment on my live stream about a sexual act between myself and my girlfriend. And so I didn't know you were on there. And I actually chewed the guy out for a few minutes and made fun of him. And then I moved on. Well, you looked the guy up, and we're not going to mention his name, but do you want to share with the audience what you discovered about this gentleman? And let me just, I'll go ahead and tell the folks what he said, because he used a number. He said, "Do you in May 69?" Yeah. So so that was about a 14-year-old mentality type of comment. Something that you'd hear on a schoolyard, on a junior high school playground, not adults having a conversation. But that was his big comment and question about my life and my girlfriend. You looked the guy up, and what did you find?
Well, here's the thing. He made these comments about even getting high and sleeping on the sidewalk. And I says to myself, I wonder, you have to have a YouTube channel to make a comment. And a lot of guys just open a channel with no videos or nothing, just so they can, make a comment. So I says to myself, I'll look him up and see. So I looked him up, and he had a few videos on his channel. And then, so I clicked on the videos because I wanted to see if he mentioned his name or anything. So his name was Philip, but I'm just going to call him Phil, so we won't know his real name. So
good thinking.
But on his videos, he was speaking. He's living in Vietnam, and he was speaking Vietnamese. So I'm sure he thought, these Americans, they're not going to understand what I'm saying. I can do and say what I want in Vietnamese. But he didn't know that, Mr. Bud Brown understands Vietnamese.
That's right.
His English may not be too good. So anyway, through his conversation, I says to myself, so that's where you're coming from. He was working with children in a school, teaching English probably. And I say to myself, you're with children in a school, and you're making nasty comments on my friend's channel? Things would not go well for you if your teacher or principal were to, if a little birdie were to put, some pictures, screenshots.
Yeah.
So, it's not beneficial to anyone for you to make negative comments or to insult people. And so,
I to this day it mystifies me. I mean, I can understand a constructive criticism. I can understand a true statement like, "This is boring." I've heard that before, and I say, well, I've got to agree. Bud Brown's here. Of course it's boring.
There you go. That explains it. That explains it right there.
And so, stuff like that. It's like, that's okay. But when they go to that level, that childhood, juvenile, semi-porno level stuff, it's just not necessary. It just doesn't. And what's interesting, though, is that if you really could, or I guess I could, since you've armed me with the information, and I don't think either one of us think it's worth the bother, but we could actually probably get the guy fired.
Yeah.
If we put our minds to it, because we could have screenshots of what he was saying and how he's conducting himself, and then show his boss, who would be a principal, because he's working with little children.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably working on a special type of visa. And all we have to let them know is that there's some red flags about this guy's sexuality or whatever. And then they would take, I'm sure, measures.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, Bud, thank you so much for coming. I know you've got bigger and better things to do than to sit here.
Okay, honey, just a minute.
Oh, yeah. I know you're an important guy. You got lots of appointments and a lot better things to do. Your check is in the mail, and
that's
I really,
the main thing.
Yeah, yeah. And would you like to sign off for us here?
Well, I'll just say thanks everybody for coming by, and I appreciate you putting up with our nonsense. You know, it's hard enough for me to put up with the nonsense, but everybody else, everybody's great. Yeah. So I appreciate you coming by. And if you don't have anything to do, come by my channel. And it's got a real fancy name, Bud Brown. So thank you so much, and I'll catch you next time.
And that'll be it, kids. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure, if you haven't already, to subscribe to Bud Brown's channel. It's his everyday life here in downtown Dumaguete. All right. We'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for joining in. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.